Based on your experience, what's the power when a leader can, be a community builder in their organization, but also ensure that they are part of a strong community of leaders?
In general, when we talk about community building, I think business leaders might think about it like something extra, something that would be really nice to do if I just had the time because everybody's driven by day to day results, not realizing that if you do some fundamental strategic analysis about who are the kinds of relationships that you need to have, certainly with your own employees, with fellow leaders, with community partners, with communities where you want to be recruiting employees from, when you do a strategic analysis of figuring out what are those relationships, then you just build it into your day-to-day practice. It solves so many problems that actually end up inhibiting growth and really having problems for leaders. I know, especially on the recruiting side, this is something that leaders won't realize is really an issue until you get in a situation like we have now where talent is so tight. It becomes apparent when you do not have relationships with communities when you often need it the most. And then all of a sudden, everybody's scrambling to try to build connections with
Yeah.
people. So, doing it proactively means you solve a lot of problems in the long run.
Yeah, and as you're talking about that, the one thing I've seen is particularly when you are, running your own company or you've got a leadership role in an organization, it consumes you. And what it does, it keeps you kind of heads down, focused on what you need to do. And some of these other things that are a little more external, that require more focus on building relationships, just get put to the back burner. Where I see it happens is when someone has gone through a career change. And all of a sudden, you see, for example, their level of activity on LinkedIn goes through the roof because they realize it. And I've talked to so many senior leaders that when they're in that kind of career
Mhm.
transition phase, they will say, I made a mistake. They would always kind of say, I should have been focusing more on building relationships because now I need them and I don't have them because I was so consumed by my role. What advice would you have for leaders who feel that way? They're kind of, overloaded. And we're talking about simple relationships you can go to for advice, for insights on your toughest leadership challenges and business problems. Sometimes just to be inspired, what would you say? What's a couple of steps that I could take?
Yeah, I'm a big fan. I talk about it in the book of what I call tiny marketing actions. So little small actions that take a very short period of time in order to happen. If you have a strategic idea about who are some of these valuable relationships, these could be past professors, beloved leaders, employees who you loved and loved working with. It can literally be as quick as putting aside 5 minutes in your calendar to go on LinkedIn. You could have your list of who it is you want to connect with, and you could just say, gosh, it's been so long since we've connected. How are you? What are you doing these days? It seems so small to almost be insulting to say that that would make a difference. What I have found overall with actually business development, and in my own case for network development, sometimes people ask me, like, how do you know all these people? How do you have relationships with people who are sometimes very busy or famous or influential? I can count back over the years to hundreds of tiny marketing actions. So you have to have a deliberate strategy.
Mhm.
And then it's not about some huge tidal wave of activity. It's looking for small ways that you can make the connections. The other thing I'll say is there's a stacking principle I write about in the book where if you are going to do an activity, so let's say you want to do some kind of community activity at the end of the year with your employees, look at it from a strategic perspective of where are places and communities that could be really strategic for you and your company, where there's an alignment, maybe about a need in that community, your need for talent, information, product development, and try to stack opportunities so that in doing one thing, you're actually also building relationships in another way.